Peace, folks. This is your brother David Rodriguez with another episode of Hispaniola History Channel. And with this, before I start, I would just like to read a verse from the Bible, the King James Version, Psalms 21. It says, "The king shall joy in thy strength, O Lord, and in thy salvation how greatly shall he rejoice." This is my 21st video I've uploaded onto YouTube since we started 21 weeks ago. And since then, I would like to say thanks for all those who supported. Some folks got it, some don't. This channel is not for everybody. As stated, this is for those who definitely want to get a deeper insight on the island and from my perspective. This is the Hispaniola History Channel, La Historia de Hispaniola, presented by David Rodriguez. Now let's get back to the number 21 and how it relates to the island of Hispaniola. It's a very special number and it's a very special island. And the number 21 is a very esoteric number. Before we get into that mysticism, we have to stay grounded in the foundation. Let me go into Proverbs 21 and 21. "He that follows after righteousness and mercy finds life, righteousness, and honor." And that's one thing that both Haiti and the Dominican practice in their military rituals when it comes to honoring certain folks, whether it be presidents or dignitaries. These things are done in the 21 gun salute. No, the United States did not originate that. Folks in Latin America and particularly Haiti and the Dominican Republic has a long history of this. News article from, I believe it's from China. It says, "President Chen welcomes the Dominican Republic President Lionel Antonio Fernandez Reina with the 21 gun salute." Here's a New York Times article from 1939. It says, "Dominican greets General Trujillo. Former president of country gets a 21 gun salute on visit to the fair." Here's an article here, Haiti diplomacy, 21 gun salute for President Martelly. Military honors accompanied by 21 gun salute. Another article here from the Haitian internet. "British warship arrives in Cap Haitian. 21 gun salute creates panic in the city." As you can see, the number 21 in terms of the military powers, it's used as a sign of honor, respect. But let's get to the deeper understanding. We know the island is separated into two different nations. So this kind of reminds me of a bird, one bird with two wings. Two different nations, so these are two different birds. Over here at the sons.org website on numerology, it says, "Angel number 21 is encouraging you to be independent, but at the same time work in partnership with other people to achieve greatness." In no way promoting any kind of unity or, folks got their issues and rightfully so. But I just want to point out in terms of folks sharing an island and how this number 21 is somehow intertwined in this understanding. Even in the basic understanding of looking at the number 21, you have 2 and 1. That means 2 and 1. 2 nations in one island. Dealing with numerology and the angel number 21, it says here, when you see angel number 21, it means that it's time for new beginnings and changes. Don't be afraid, because these changes will bring harmony and balance. On a basic level, most governments won't allow you to engage in certain activities until you turn 21, ready to be an adult. So you're ready for new beginnings, new changes. When we deal with all things, you have to include the aspect of the universe, the stars. Number 21 is entwined in that. There's a cluster of stars east of Sagittarius for those who study astronomy. Messier 21 or M21, open cluster of Messier 21 in Sagittarius. Keep this in mind, Sagittarius going into Capricorn, which we are going into right now for those who study astrology and astronomy. So the 21 is connected to the solstice. 2 solstices occur annually around June 21st and December 21st. So this is the time period we're in right now, in between the 21st and Christmas. And of course, bringing it back to the island, patron saint of Santo Domingo de Guzman. First of all, he died in the year 1221. Open your eyes and look at things for what they are. 1221 is the date of the winter solstice. The year in which he died is very symbolic to the winter solstice. Santo Domingo de Guzman, he is the patron saint of Santo Domingo, but he's also the patron saint of astronomers. He is the patron saint of astronomers. This is very important to understand because the folks that traveled by sea a long time ago during the times of Columbus were master astronomers. Columbus himself was a master astronomer. So one of the founding cities was Santo Domingo. And Santo Domingo himself is the patron saint of astronomy. And in astronomy, that number 21 is very important. Let's bring it back down to the earth, the land, Hispaniola, and Haiti. We know very early in the island's history, there were certain spiritual practices that were created. And we have to give proper credit where credit is due. Most of these spiritual practices were created at a time where the island was going through changes and new beginnings, aka rebellions. How does this all play in with Voodoo, Santeria, the island, and the number 21? Let's see. Let's go into further understandings. But it says here, Santeria and Voodoo are religions practiced by people who believed in one God. Let me read that again. Santeria and Voodoo are religions practiced by people who believe in one God. Santeria and Voodoo, the foundation is one God. Well, isn't that the same foundation in the Christian religion? The same foundation in the Islamic religion? And isn't that the same foundation in the Jewish and the Hebrew religions? One God. Let me continue. That is served by several spirits. So it's one God served through several spirits. Both religions also believe in the possession of the spirits called the Orishas in Santeria and Loas or laws in Vodou. Loas means laws. That's interesting. Isn't the foundation of the Torah based on laws? Loas or laws in Vodou through song and dance. In both religions, the Loas or Orishas and ancestors are identified with the Catholic saints. So when we talk about Vodou, when we hear about the word Vodou, certain things come to mind. Even if you Google, is Vodou from Africa? And this what will come up. Vodou is an ancient religion practiced by some 30 million people in West African nations, Benin, Togo, and Ghana. With countless deities, animal sacrifice, and spiritual procession, Vodou, as is known to the rest of the world, is one of the most misunderstood religions on the globe. That I will agree is definitely one of the most misunderstood religions on the globe for sure. But to say that the origin of Vodou as we know it today has its start in Benin is a bit of a stretch, because there's a lot of things you're leaving out of the equation, because the very word Vodou did not come into the records until the history of the island was exposed to the world. So we cannot leave out certain things. Another major aspect is stated earlier that the Vodou religion and the Santeria is tied into the Catholic saints. So one aspect you cannot leave out is the Catholic religion. And within the Catholic religion, in France, you had a group called the Cathars. It says here, the history of the Cathars, extermination. This was a group that was early rebelling against the Catholic Church. It says the Cathars are considered the most radical and revolutionary Christian sect in history. In fact, the Roman Catholic Church invented the Great Inquisition to stamp out the Cathars, as they were the greatest threat to that up to that time. Remember, when the Moors of Spain were ousted from Spain at the time, one of the places in which they took refuge, first was Portugal, second was southern France. So this is the history where there's some kind of rebellion going on within the Catholic Church, particularly with this Cathar group. Another aspect of Vodou and Santeria that you cannot leave out is the Aboriginal and Indigenous inhabitants of the Americas, specifically those on the island and surrounding islands, the Arawaks. It says here the Arawaks believed in many gods, or Zemi, who control different aspects of life, and also the afterlife, in which the good would receive recognition for their goodness. Supposedly, the cacique had a closer connection to the gods. He was the religious leader and also the medic. So in the Arawak indigenous beliefs, we had records of them already having a spiritual system very similar to what we call Vodou and Santeria today. And those religious leaders were also medics. So this was going on very early on the island's history. And these are things that we cannot leave out when dealing with Santeria and Vodou, or the spiritual practices in the Americas. In Vodou, they deal with the Loas. It says here that the Loas can be divided into 21 nations, which include the Petro, the Rada, the Congo, the Nago. The Petro and the Rada contrast most with one another, because the Petro are hot or aggressive and restless, whereas the Rada are cool or calm and peaceful. So there's a duality here in dealing with the Loas. But notice it says as divided into 21 nations. This is interesting because now we have to bring it into the Santeria, or the Dominican Voodoo, because the Dominican Voodoo is also known as Las 21 Divisiones, 21 divisions, or the 21 divisiones. The 21 divisions is a syncretic religion of Caribbean origin which developed on the island of Hispaniola. Let's get a deeper understanding here. It says Dominican Voodoo is practiced through a cha-cha or maraca, which means rattle lineage. In Haiti, Vodou has come about and became more popular through another lineage known as the Asan. However, before the Asan, the Cha-Cha lineage was prominent lineage in Haiti. Thus, the Cha-Cha lineage is the oldest lineage within the Vodou tradition all over the island. And we have sources to verify that. And Dominican Vodou, some practitioners are sometimes called caballos. Caballos, that means horses. First time we even hear of caballos and caballeros are the Knights of Santiago, Los 30 Caballeros, the 30 Knights who first settled on the island of Hispaniola, north coast, very early. So let's bring it back. These things all came about during times of rebellion. How does this play in with the number 21 and the island's history and rebellions, period? We have to bring it back to the Bible now, because in the Bible there are 21 Bible verses about rebellion of Satan and the angels. It says here, some say that as 21 is the result of 3 times 7, both considered perfect, the number is perfect by default. Others, however, believe 21 represents wickedness, rebellion, and sin. So there's a duality here. Just how there is a duality in dealing with the Loas and the Arawak Zemis and the Santerias and the spiritual practices. There's always duality, but yet an understanding of one God. It says here in BibleStudy.org, some biblical scholars are saying, says the meaning of 21 in the Bible is an outgrowth of the number 13, adding 13 sinfulness and 8 symbolizing a new beginning, which gives us 21. So 21 can symbolize you rebelling off from your own sinfulness and creating a new beginning. So this number has deep meaning, not only on the island, but a deep meaning in the Bible as well, both alluding to rebellions. Let's get a deeper understanding. I'm in the book of Luke 21 and 9. Hope y'all paying attention in terms of rebellions. It says here, When you hear of wars and uprisings, do not be frightened. These things must happen, but the end will come right away. Let me read again. When you hear of wars and uprisings, remember the island suffered and went through many wars and uprisings, not just the Haitian Revolution, but going way, way back to the beginning. There were uprisings in the times of Columbus. And then there was that peace treaty in 1533 between the Spanish and the Aboriginals. And that peace treaty came about through wars and uprisings. This is 200 years before the beginnings of the Haitian Revolution. And these things have to be acknowledged here. Luke 21:9. When you hear of wars and uprisings, do not be frightened. These things must happen first, but the end will not come right away. In that, I hope that this have provided some kind of understanding in terms of how this number 21 is connected to the island. The history of the island in terms of the rebellions and the spiritual practices are all tied in to a possible source. So with that, folks, 21 blessings to those who've been supporting the channel. This is your brother David Rodriguez, and stay tuned for the Adoration of the Magi, which is going to be a presentation I will release on Christmas Day. Presentation with information dealing with this historical painting of the birth of Jesus. I'm going to deal with that. This painting is decoded with a lot of information dealing with the Americas and also quite possibly the island of Hispaniola. Stay tuned for that, folks. This is your brother David Rodriguez with another video, the 21st video uploaded on YouTube for the Hispaniola History Channel. Thank you for your support thus far. Gracias. Saludos. Peace. This is the Hispaniola History Channel, La Historia de Hispaniola, presented by David Rodriguez.